Hello, everybody. Ace Titanium here, bringing you guys a draft analysis for the UNPL D League. It's been a good minute since I joined the league. I've been getting caught up with real life, and some of my videos had gotten corrupted. Um, I'm trying to give you guys a lot better quality now that I have a new setup, a new PC, and everything. Um, but this is a little bit of a different draft league because I usually just do Scarlet and Violet drafts, but I figured I would do a National Dex draft as a refresher. So I've joined this D league that way I wouldn't say I'm rusty, but I need some enlightenment, especially with a lot of the mons that weren't in Scarlet and Violet being in National Dex. I feel like it changes things a lot. But I also wanted to be able to use my mascots, Zero Aura, Zygarde, and Toxicroak. But Zero Aura got taken right before my pick because I'm ninth pick. And, I figured if I can't have my mascot and I can't have a fun team centered around my mascot, I'll just make sure that I draft a team that will not be fun to face. Now, is that a little bit petty? Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm petty. I'm just very passionate about Mons, and I was really looking forward to using Zero Aura. I didn't think Zero Aura would be a Pokemon that would be taken around one, because usually you want like Dragapult. Um, but speaking of the devil, Dragapult ended up being my round one pick. I didn't think this Mon would make it to me in round one because it's Dragapult. It's 20 points. It's at the top of the board. This is the type of Mon you would pick like turn one. Like if you're the first pick, you would pick it, or even second pick. It's between Dragapult, Iron Valiant, Palafin, and something like Great Tusk. That's like top four. Surprisingly, Palafin wasn't picked up. It's still on the board. But to see that Dragapult made it all the way down to ninth pick was really surprising because it's like this type of Mon. It's a very simplistic playstyle with this Pokemon, but it does so much. It's it it issues the opponent to do a lot of prep for it. But it's Hex, Thunder Wave, Will Wisp, U-Turn, Draco Meteor. You can run specs with Shadow Ball. Even Bandit if you want to go Dragon Darts, Phantom Force. Like yeah, Phantom Force is kind of shit, but if you get it off, you get it off because some teams are gonna bring a normal type. Um, you get pretty good options. Like some most of the time you can just speed creep and you can invest in Volk, which will be really good in a lot of matchups. Like obviously, if you're facing a team that has a lot of speedsters, it's not worth it. You may as well just run max speed, and if they're faster than you, probably Scarf. But this Mon is just like it's really self-explanatory, but it's just one of the best Pokemon in draft to begin with. Obviously that statement is like grass is green type of deal, but you know it it really just is one of the best Mons, and to complement Dragapult on my draft, I decided to get Megalopony. Now, I've had experience using Megalopony in draft, but not like a whole lot. I only ever got to draft it once, and after that, I never really did. But I'm trying to try it out again because I'll be real, I didn't really use Lopunny. The last time I did, I think, was in Gen 7 or like in an early Gen 8 National Dex draft. But besides that, I haven't really used it. I've used other Megas. So I figured what would be the best partner to Dragapult? Lopunny. A very. It's a very. I wouldn't say it's a one trick pony. It's just, it does its job so well that it doesn't really matter how much you prep for it. It's still going to do a lot in the match. Fake out, return, close combat, U turn, triple axle. it's like the usual, but it's the usual that it does so well with. And I don't, it, Scrappy being buffed really helps it out because now you can't intimidate it. You can't come in with Landorus to take a close combat or a return or even a triple axle. You just die. This mon is going to be a lot harder to switch into because you can't lower its attack unless you use something like, I don't know what. Um, what's a move? I the only moves I can think of that lower attack is like what, growl, but you're not gonna bring growl. You would just have to raise your own stats in that case. But yeah, it's just one of those mons that I always wanted to use, and I get to use it now. Um, and as you can see from the names, I'm going with a Transformers theme. I had asked a friend what naming theme I should go for, and he told me Transformers, so I had to do a little bit of research. But besides that, I decided that for my third pick, I didn't want to keep going with top heavy hyper offense. I needed some bulk. So with my third pick, I decided on Tapu Bulu. I've never used Tapu Bulu before, never once in draft or even in competitive. And I figured this would be a fun Pokemon to use because its moveset is interesting. Like, yeah, it sucks that it doesn't have physical fairy stab. Like, it doesn't have play rough or even like spirit break. And that's fine. It not a Pokemon isn't perfect. Like, none of the Tapu's got like a signature fairy move. Like Tapu Koko doesn't have play rough either, even though it should. Um I think it's just like a way of keeping them balanced, like on Game Freak's part. Maybe I'm just coping. I hope I am. Um, but this mon is really interesting at what it does. Like, people can argue that Rillaboom is better, but I feel like when it comes to like typing bulk and having access to Horn Leech and Nature's Madness is a lot more valuable in matchups than Rillaboom. Like in certain scenarios, because they're relatively close in speed. Like, yeah, Rillaboom has knockoff and grassy glide and U-turn, and that's really good. I just think Bulu has a different place in what it can do, and I think as time goes on, I'm going to enjoy this mon even more because it's my first time using it. But um, I don't know. I mean, it's like it's a leech seed machine. It doesn't get that much recovery, I don't think. But as a mon, I think it'll be really useful. Um, I wanted to pair a mon with this, a mon that could come in and switch in on the weaknesses that Tapu Bulu has. So for my fourth pick, I decided on Volcanion or Volcanion, whichever one. Um, Volcanion is another one I've never used before. It's a Pokemon I've seen in draft, and I've seen it usually from like Pokegames Draft League. Like, they glaze it a lot, and I think it has a reason to be glazed, but that's usually because it can Terra. If it can't Terra, I figured I would try it out and see what it's like because fire water with water absorb is an interesting take, and its stats are pretty good. I've never used it before, and I figured now would be a good time since it was still on the board. And it pairs really well with Tapu Bulu because not only does it get rid of my ground weakness essentially because Earthquake gets halved in damage, it also heals Volcanion, and it's a mon that doesn't have recovery. You would have to run like leftovers to recover HP, but now with Grassy Surge, it helps out a lot. It helps out even more. I need to stop saying a lot. I think, running a spec set on this thing would be really good. Like, it's meant, I wouldn't say it's meant to be a breaker, but it's a good bulky offensive Pokemon on top of being next to Bulu. Um, And I figured, if I'm going to grab this mon, I'm going to grab my next mon to pair it with those two. That being Sandy Shocks. Sandy Shocks, I've never. This is another case of a mon I've never used. Like, it's obviously it's from this generation, so it's whatever. But this is a mon I've wanted to use for a while. I've never gotten to use it, and I figured it would be good on this team because its Earth power can't be halved by Grassy Surge, and it also gets protected from Earthquake. And its bulk is pretty decent. It's not the best bulk in the world, but it's like 85, 97, 85 isn't bad, especially on a mon that's supposed to be a special breaker. I think this is a mon that will help me out a lot, like even against like a Sun team, because then photosynthesis is a good counter, and typing wise, it helps out a lot against Sun because if I'm facing a fire type, I can just Earth power. If it's a grass type chlorophyll mon, I can just go into Volcanion or even Tapu Bulu. But if that's not really possible, because this mon, I'm probably gonna use it more of as like a support spike setter with stealth rocks as well. But if I have to deal with grass types, besides with Bulu, some grass types do get like weather ball, so this next pick doesn't really help with that. But it's another mon that really helps my team, and it's Skarmory. This is my I would say this is my first mon below 500 BST, surprisingly, or like I wouldn't say ironically because like I didn't really like take into consideration that all the mons I had drafted until Skarmory were like almost at 600 BST until I got Skarmory. But I think this is a mon that has really good value, and a lot of people were questioning me why I didn't go Corviknight for the U-turn and the defog and the roost. But Skarmory does the exact same thing Corviknight does. The only thing it doesn't have is U-turn. But besides that, it has what Corviknight doesn't. It has rocks, it has spikes, it has moves that Corviknight does not have that help it become its own identity in draft. And I feel like here it can really shine because here it can defog and can roost. It can do what it needs to do for the team. And I feel like it's a good steel type for me to have because it's also immune to ground. And for its weaknesses, I can handle that with Sandy Shocks and Volcanion. So I don't have to worry about it. Um, there's not really much else to say about this mod because I wouldn't say it's not a one trick. It's not a one trick like Lopunny, but the most of the time its job is going to be as a spike setter or even as like Iron Defense Body Press. But if there are some matchups where I can get away with it, I'm going Swords Dance Weak Armor because now this mon has Drilled Run, which is really good for the Steel and Fire types that want to switch in, especially against Heatran, who's gonna want to switch in and take on Skarmory. So after a +2, Drill Run should be a one hit, though I'm gonna have to calc that later. Um, that being said, if I really want a good Sun switch in, like if I were to face Sun, I don't think anybody drafted Sun. I'd have to check, but if I have to face Sun, I'm going to Nihilego. This mon is a good switch in into Chlorophyll mons that aren't Terra, because then I can just switch in. They can't Weather Ball me because it's resisted, and I take it super well. And then I've never used Nihilego. It's the same story for everything. Like I've never used any of these mons. Like Lopunny once, but that was like in early Gen 7, like not early Gen 7, like late Gen 7, early Gen 8 Nat decks. But all these other mons I've never used. Nihilego is like one of those mons. It was the same tier as Glimora, but Glimora was already taken like a couple picks back, like when I got Volcanion. So I just picked up Nihilego. It's the same points. It's a lot. It's faster. It hits just as hard. It's a lot bulkier, especially like it's frail on the physical side, but that's why I have Skarmory and Bulu and even Volcanion. Um, and it's a really good mon that can snowball out of control if I can get a Meteor Beam off, because I can just run Meteor Beam, Power Herb, and EV it to where when it gets a kill, I get a speed boost instead of a special attack boost. Um, on top of that, I mean, it's a really good mon. It gets rocks. It gets what I need it to do. I can even just run like a support toxic set for taking special hits. Um, and to pair it well with something, I decided I would get Hoopa. I haven't gotten Hoopa ever, and I feel like it's a really good mon. Um, it's a really self-explanatory mon. I don't. It's not. It's a really interesting mon. It hits hard. It does what it needs to do, and I'm kind of just like running out of time because I do gotta go. So it's just like he's he's strong. He's strong as hell, and I needed a strong dark type. And to pair him well with my last three mons, my last three is like all three of these don't really matter that much because they're all like low tier Terras. Because I kind of just like went too top heavy, but I think they'll work really well for what I need. And yeah, that's pretty much my draft analysis. So I hope you guys will like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in week 1 of the D League. See y'all later. Peace.